Hello everyone, my voice is feeling way better than was, so I decided to make a short video on the history of Eurasianism, how it formed as a political ideology, and why I think it's a gigantic coping mechanism from the side of the Russians. So, for a little bit of context, it basically started out as a political ideology by the Russian emigres that moved to the West after the fall of the Russian Empire, and after they started noticing that Russia and the West are not as similar as they thought. In fact, one could even argue that Russia is its own separate cultural entity that is neither 100% European nor 100% Asian, which obviously it's true, especially if you know the very complicated history that Russia had, especially with it being under the Golden Horde for many years. This obviously leaves a mark on a nation's culture. This obviously is where we get terms like the Tatar yoke, Russian lawlessness, Russian backwardsness, which are all used to describe the same thing. Obviously, all these terms have very negative connotations culturally and politically, but this is where things get interesting. This is where we get writers from the right, like Ivan Ilyin, or leftist writers like Lev Gumilyov, who basically want to describe what us Westerners call as a Tatar yoke or Russian backwardsness, and try to paint it as something positive, or sometimes, or especially in the case of Lev Gumilyov, who basically deny it altogether and say that maybe we were the backwards ones in the past, but now it's the West that is backward. The writings of Ivan Ilyin are actually even more weird if you think about it, because it basically makes the case for an authoritarian figure being in charge of Russia at all times, which obviously means that this takes all political responsibility from the hands of the Russian people, therefore creating a pure and innocent nation, which is why Vladimir Putin actually helped bring Ivan Ilyin's remains from Switzerland, where he died, and brought them back to Russia at his own expense, mind you. So basically, it is a political and social ideology that is basically trying to paint backwardsness, or the fact that 20% of Russia doesn't have indoor plumbing, as something positive, therefore a coping mechanism.